Let's preview the Champions League final. Saturday evening in Cardiff, 7:45 kickoff is what it is scheduled to be at. It's going to be Juventus versus Real Madrid Champions League final. And what a final that is between two of what I would say would be the best teams in the world right now. Absolutely. They're almost mirror images of each other, that they've got so much talent in every single area of the pitch. From goalkeeper to defence, midfield, forwards, everywhere. Every single player on both sides is just an immense player. Really, really is an immense player. I don't even know if I'm rooting for a particular team in this one. I'm kind of rooting for Buffon in goal for Juventus because he's just an absolute marvel of a goalkeeper. An absolute legend of the game, and it'd be really great for him to be able to lift up that European trophy. I think it's like the one trophy he's never ever lifted. He's gotten to finals. Barcelona beat them a couple of years ago, and it'd be really nice because he comes across as such a genuine guy. Loves football, lives and breathes it. I think he's 39 years old. He's not going to have many more opportunities to be able to get the Champions League final and to actually get the Champions League, become a winner of it. Real Madrid, on the other hand, Cristiano Ronaldo seems to be, transforming himself again this season. He's an absolute goal machine, just as he normally is, but he seems to be much more of a constant threat instead of maybe banging in loads of goals against one team and not necessarily doing it in others. He seems to be an absolute commanding force in the Real Madrid team. Never mind the fact that you've got, Toni Kroos. You'll have Modric, perhaps Bale, but you've also got the chance of having Isco in there. You got Benzema. You could put Morata up there as well. So many talented players in that team. You've then got Ramos and Pepe. Marcelo. Is it Carvajal at right back? I think it is. Could be. Not entirely sure. Goalkeeper. I can't remember his name. Oh, Christ. I really can't remember his name. That's quite bad. But he's a pretty good goalkeeper. His name will probably come to me at some point, and if it does, I'll probably blurt it out. But there we go. I might even see if has it got any line. No, it doesn't have any. Anyway, I didn't write down any information about that. Basically, anyway, Juventus have so many good players. I've already talked about Buffon. They've got one of the most solid back fours of all time. They kept Barcelona to a clean sheet. They beat them handily. They beat Barcelona handily, and Barcelona are obviously no joke. Came second to Real Madrid in La Liga by 3 points. But, to keep out the talented players that Barcelona have, in the likes of obviously Messi, who I feel is the world's best player, but Ronaldo is ever so close, if not on the exact same level in my opinion, just different players, different styles of players. But we're not going to get into that debate. That's not what this video is all about. Luis Suarez, one of my favourite strikers of the modern era of football, and loved him as a Liverpool fan. Gutted that he left us. Neymar, an absolutely one of the most talented youngsters I've ever seen, and how they managed to keep them out. They just contained Barcelona very, very well, and it was unfortunate. I'm quite a fan of the Barcelona style of play, and the way that their players play. They've got the best players pretty much in each position as well. Not in each position, in the forward positions. They fail quite badly in defence, surprisingly. This is where I think that it's going to be, won and lost for either team, Real Madrid or Juventus. Juventus score goals. Higuain, Dybala. They've got so many different threats on the pitch. Juan Cuadrado as well. They've got good midfielders, solid midfielders. And they're such a very, very balanced team. I think they've got a bit of a better balance than Real Madrid. Real Madrid, I feel, have a bit more talent with the likes of having your options of Ronaldo, Gareth Bale, Isco coming into form this season and proving maybe actually, who's going to edge it out between Bale. Because Bale hasn't been fit. He could come back fit into this game, but I imagine that Bale will actually probably start on the bench. Isco will probably inch it onto the starting lineup. You've got Benzema or Morata. You've got so many different options. Those two options alone as strikers are so good. If one of them's not working, you can switch them out because they're slightly different to each other, and it would work. It really, really would work. There's just what do you guys feel about this one? Because I just think that this is literally the two strongest teams in Europe right now. Juventus have barely conceded a goal in the Champions League this year, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But I think they have one of the best defensive records in the Champions League so far this year. Real Madrid, on their day, can absolutely dominate whoever is second best to them. As close as that second best could be, they can completely demolish them. They really, really can. They have that ability to do it. Sometimes they don't turn up, but when it comes to a Champions League final, they've proven it over the last couple of years that, when it comes to cup finals, with the likes of Ramos, all the players that they have, Ronaldo, Bale, everybody like that, they've got experience in these players of how to win a final. And they could do it here. It's going to be important for both teams to do it for different reasons. Obviously, Juventus, I think, they were there in the final against Barcelona, and they lost 3-1. And it was a very dominant display in the end by Barcelona. Juventus had Pogba back then as well. Whether that would make any difference, I don't know why that was worth mentioning. Anyway, never mind. Real Madrid are going to be looking to make history. They're going to be wanting to look to make history and retain the Champions League for the first time in the modern era, the modern take on the Champions League in its current form. And it would be unreal if they can do that. It really, really will be. Now, my personal feelings on this game, I do think that Juventus have got enough to take this game. Purely because they've got such a solid defence, great goalkeeper, a legend of a goalkeeper, great defence. They've got a very, very solid and creative midfield. They've got an awesome front line that can be so explosive and dynamic. You saw how they tore apart Barcelona and how they've torn apart other teams as well. But they don't overcommit. I think that they could have done a worse job on Barcelona. They could have really put so many more nails in the coffin of Barcelona's performances in the Champions League than they did. They could have quite easily, I think, could have stepped it up a notch, and I don't necessarily think they've had to so far. Against Real Madrid, you're going to have to play at your top level, at your top gear, and whether they can, start out maybe as they did against Barcelona, very, very controlled. They like to take control of games, and take the control away from the opposition as well. If you're playing against Barcelona, who are a very possession-based side, let them play that possession-based side, that style of football, like Barcelona tried to. They caught them out on the counter. They caught them out in so many different ways, and I do believe that they really could have actually trounced Barcelona if they wanted to. Now, it's a bit different coming up against Real Madrid because they've just won La Liga, just the same as obviously Juventus have won their league, but I do think that La Liga is that little bit more competitive due to the fact that obviously Barcelona are in La Liga. I do think that Juventus have it I don't want to say easier, but it's not as competitive as La Liga, and I don't find that La Liga is that competitive anyway, apart from the fact that Barcelona actually just kind of fell off the grid a little bit in that league as well. Real Madrid, they just have so many ways to cut a team open. They're going to have to use everything at their disposal to get into that, in between that defence. Never mind getting it past Buffon. So to get to Buffon, you've got to get through that defence. You've also got to get through that midfield. And that midfield will drop back to help out the defence if need be. But that defence is solid as a brick wall. It's as solid as it comes in European football right now. And I do think that the battle it's going to be 50-50 on either side. It's going to be whose defence and whose attack is better than the others. And that sounds very, very simple when you put it like that. It's like, well, isn't that what every game's like? Yeah, it is. But we're looking at the cream of the crop here. We're looking at the top class players in Europe right now. And I'm not discrediting the fact that, like Messi, Suarez, all that lot, Neymar, I've mentioned them already. This is who is the best in Europe right now. Juventus versus Madrid. And I've got to look at it, and I do think that Juventus have got enough. They do have enough to take this, right? And this is where I'm going to get down to it. Juventus have enough to take this. They've got the defence, they've got the midfield, they've got the strikers. They've proven it so far in Champions League. But Madrid have the edge. Real Madrid have the edge in the fact that they've won the Champions League in recent years. They've got experience. If it goes down to the wire, like it did against Atletico Madrid a couple of years ago, and it took, I think, was it a Gareth Bale header or was it a Ramos header? Might have been a Ramos header that took it to 1-1. Gareth Bale scored, and then I think Ronaldo, he had that infamous pose with his shirt off, like doing the whole "look at me, yes, I won this game," but you kind of, you already had people score before you. Anyway, they know how to get things, even if it goes down to the wire, as tough as it can get. They know how to squeak these things out and how to turn things in their favour. They really, really do. It really is. This is me right now. I'm just trying to think of what my prediction's actually going to be, because I think that it's going to go down to you. I think it's going to go down to Real Madrid. I think it's going to be another extra time game, though. I think that Juventus is going to be able to take this one all the way. Now, I'm not saying it's going to go to penalties or anything like that. I do think it will be done in extra time. But I think Real Madrid are going to have another game like they did a couple of years ago, where it went to extra time and they do it in extra time. And I think Real Madrid will retain the Champions League. I think it's going to be huge if they can do that. Now, whilst I am predicting that Real Madrid are going to win, by the way, I think at the end of it they're going to win 3-1. So let's just put that one out there. I think that they're going to win 3-1. I just think that Ronaldo's two on form right now. I think they're in a very, very good place coming into this game. Now, I'm not saying that Juventus aren't, because Juventus are a very exceptionally talented side, and I especially like Dybala. I think he's an absolute gem. So anyway, getting back to what I was saying, while I think that Real Madrid are going to win this one, I'm not saying that Juventus can't win it. I think that you've got sides so close like this right now in Juventus and Real Madrid that are the top teams in Europe. I just don't, it comes down to the finest of details. The slight misplacement of a pass, the slight brushing past on the outside of a post of a shot to it going in. Those slight little judgments, those slight little misses here or there. Same thing with timings of a tackle. Everything like that. How are you keeping your possession? What are you allowing the other team to do? Are you expressing yourselves? Are you getting good possession? Are you getting into good areas of the pitch? Are you taking your opportunities? Link up play between all of the players, not just forwards and midfield. I expect this to be a true representation of European football at its absolute peak, at its highest. And that's what I'm expecting from this game, which is why I think it could end up being a tight game going right through to extra time, and I think that Real Madrid will take over in extra time. I think it'll go into extra time 1-1, and I do think that they can take over. But make no mistake at all, I am absolutely not writing Juventus off. I just think that Real Madrid have got this game. Juventus could well come out. It all depends on how both teams start and how they take control of the game. I think if Juventus get control of the game and they have a bit more possession, or they're stifling Real Madrid in the early stages up until maybe the 20th minute, and they can start pushing forward, or however they're going to do it, I do think that Juventus could then start to take the match over, and they can start to implement their style of play a lot more on Real Madrid. It's just both these teams are going to be ridiculous to break down defensively. It's going to take, as I said, it's going to come down to the absolute minimum details in attack, everything like that. I've already said it. I'm not going to repeat myself. So what do you think coming up to this final? Pretty much the last game of football I'm excited about up until the new season starts. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, please drop a like on it and subscribe if you are new around here. Thank you ever so much for watching. As always, get your prediction in. And thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you later.